This AI, if people don't get in their soul, if they don't accept this, they're going to fall behind. The fact of the matter is we focus on what we get. We might as well say this is the greatest time to be alive. The internet, the phone, the fax machine, everything along the way eventually has made our lives easier, but nothing has moved as fast as this. We could focus on that it's going to be Armageddon and the world. And maybe it could, but why not just say it's here? I'm going to focus on how it can amplify my life, my business, my family, and the people I love.
Why this moment is different in light of everything you've seen. You just mentioned you've never seen anything like this.
What we taught last year was how to get AI to know you deeply and work alongside of you. Now, with the shifts of the last 8 weeks, you can get AI that knows you deeply to work for you. So it's doing stuff while you're asleep. AI collapses the gap between idea and execution. And the people who win are the ones that keep it simple, go fast, and execute faster than ever before because they can find out what works and what doesn't.
So if you are feeling overwhelmed by AI, you are not alone. Things are moving faster than ever before. And most people are not behind because they are incapable. They're behind because they lack clarity. And today's episode is going to solve that because our guest today is Dean Graziosi. And if you're just meeting him, he's a multiple New York Times bestselling author, entrepreneur, investor, and one of the leading voices in self-education and digital entrepreneurship. He's helped millions of people build businesses, create impact, and adapt to the massive shifts in the economy. But this is what we're diving into today. We're going to be talking about what actually changed in AI in the last 8 weeks and why that matters to you, the biggest mistake most people make when they use AI, and a simple daily framework that you can use in just 20 minutes to start leveraging AI immediately for more views on your content, more revenue in your business, and honestly, more freedom in your life. Now, today's episode is brought to you by LearnAISummit.com. If you are looking to create an unfair advantage on AI, there is a free 3-day event that is coming up soon with incredible speakers. I'll link to that in the show notes below, but I want to dive straight into today's featured conversation with Dean Graziosi. Dean, what's the biggest mistake people are making with AI right now?
You know, if you know anything about me, I love thinking through these things, and I could give the obvious answers that they're chasing too many things. There's so many shiny objects. We have this feeling that we're behind when I don't think we really are. We just got to take a breath. But I could share a lot of things, but I'm going to go upstream for a second. And anytime you want to make a change in your life, if you want to finally get in the best shape of your life, you want to bring back intimacy in your relationship, you want your marketing to do better so you can impact more lives and grow your company. I mean, it doesn't help, being partners with Tony Robbins. We talk about this stuff all the time. You got to go upstream and create a purpose. If you just say, I got to learn AI because I'm falling behind, my team needs it, I want to go faster, that's good, but it doesn't evoke an emotion. And you being so good on video and all the things that you do, you know that videos that do well, why? Because they have an emotion. They stir something up in you. Nothing happens in life without a purpose. So if you say, I need to learn this damn thing, I really didn't want to, I don't think I have time, but if I don't learn it, my team's not going to learn it, we're going to fall behind, you'll do it. But if you say, hey, I'm going to learn this because I want time back. I want to figure out how AI could take away the mundane, the boring, the repetitive work, because I want 15 or 20 hours a week, maybe to be more creative, maybe to get back in shape, maybe to be home for dinner. Whatever that purpose is, when we find that, it truly gives us the unfair advantage to cut through the clutter, to overcome the fear of AI. We could be afraid it's Armageddon, or we could be excited that it's going to cure cancer and help us, or somewhere in between. And this is that crazy phase where you're looking down both paths. If you don't have a clear purpose, then fear will get you. The fear of change will get you, right? Change, we all say we like change. We really don't. And this is the biggest change. At least I'm 57. I've never seen anything in my life change so fast. So before we get to the chasing shiny tools or single path and going deeper and, building a digital twin that knows you deeply, all those are cool things. But I'd say you want to truly learn it, find a deep purpose. Make it so strong it overcomes fear. Make it so strong you embrace change. And then cut the clutter, cut the noise, and going down one path. Because once you start using it, Then there's a next step, and next step. And I know most of you listening are using it every day, but a lot of people are using it at a level 2, and you should be at least by a level 4 or 5 by now.
So I want to unpack that a little bit deeper because I'm curious the psychology behind where you took that. It's like find an emotion first before we get into all the tactics. And we'll get into the tactics in just a second. But if I'm hearing you right, just let me know if I'm on the track here. I've heard it said that reasons come first, results come second.
Absolutely.
Is that kind of what you're talking about? What's the psychology behind getting the emotion aligned first?
Right. Because are you going to hit adversity when you're trying to do something new? Of course. Are you going to feel that I can't, I'm too old for this technology or it's moving too quick? All of those things are going to happen. Right. So I got to tell you a quick story. I had a meeting last week, a really cool meeting. I'll share more of it if time matters. It really doesn't matter. But I'm sitting in the meeting and they were talking. It's a company with 300,000 employees and they want Tony to help us, Tony and I in our company to help train them. And I said, why your training's not working, whether you work with us or not. I said, why your training's not working is because you're starting out on level, say 5, when there's 4 steps before you get to the actual education. You're starting with overwhelm. You're starting with education. So I don't want to bore you, but I said, you got to start with a why. Then you got to overcome fear. Then you got to embrace change. Then you got to clear the clutter. And then you have the opportunity to educate them. And she's like, wow, this is making sense. So this is the part I wanted to tell you. And it'll sum up what you just shared. And then we can get on to whatever you want to talk about. We were looking out the window and in Phoenix, I live close and where our meeting was close to Camelback Mountain. It's in the heart of Phoenix, Arizona. It's a fun place to climb. It's a focal point, right? So I said, here's a reason. Here's why reason is so important. I said, you have any family? She goes, I have a brother. I said, okay, if your brother was on the top of that mountain, and he called you and said, it was hot that day. It was like 97 degrees. He called you and said, I'm at the top of the mountain. I forgot to bring water. Would you run up this mountain and bring me a glass of water? I don't know. Like, you should have brought water. You're not going to die. Walk down. I said, but what if your brother called you back? Same mountain, same situation. But he says, I just cut myself on a rock. I'm bleeding. I could bleed to death. I said, I didn't mean to be morbid, but if he said, I'm bleeding to death, there's nobody around. I need you to run up this mountain. She said, I'd jump out this window and sprint to the top. I said, if you give a big enough why, you overcome the worry, you overcome the overwhelm, you overcome not sure where to start, not sure. No, you find the answer. And maybe it's because I've been doing this for 3 decades and I see amazing people with great path and plan. They have the blueprint and it doesn't resonate. They don't shoot the video. They don't launch the program. They don't obsess on the funnel. It didn't convert and they fall back. And it wasn't because they didn't have the path. They didn't have the purpose.
That's powerful. And I want to get into some tactical things. But before we get there, it's such an honor to have you on the Think Media podcast. And you have a unique perspective because you've been helping people build businesses for 30 years. And so I'm curious why this moment is different in light of everything you've seen. You just mentioned you've never seen anything like this. And I'm not talking about maybe just AI. The world just feels so different. It feels like we're kind of on edge, political, economy, all these different things happening. How is this moment different?
And first off, I just want to say, whatever we focus on is we get. We know that, right? Like, that's not just me. I'm not trying to make this all about uphill strategy. I want to give you some tactics. But the fact of the matter is we focus on what we get. We might as well say this is the greatest time to be alive. I don't know. I wouldn't want to have been born 100 years ago or 300 years ago or 500 years ago. I wouldn't. We're here. Technology always eventually makes the world better. In the 1800s, there was no tractor. It would take 40 hours to plant an acre of corn. Technology built a tractor, same acre of corn, 30 minutes, right? The internet, the phone, the fax machine, everything along the way eventually has made our lives easier, but nothing has moved as fast as this. And when I say this, I'm going to say AI for you in business, starting your business, ready to start one. You have a business, want to go to another level. AI can be the great equalizer. And again, we could focus on that's going to be Armageddon and the world. And maybe it could. We could focus on it's going to be rainbows and puppies and cure cancer and help us. Great. But why not just say it's here? I'm going to focus on how it can amplify my life, my business, my family, and the people I love, right? So if I look through that lens, then AI is the great equalizer because speed is beating size. AI collapses the gap between idea and execution. Those of you using it, when when you have an idea, do you remember when you'd mastermind on it? You'd call somebody, do some research, Google something, do this thing, start writing, think for 3 days. Now you jump on, especially if your AI knows you. We'll talk more about that. If it knows your constraints, your ideas, your goals, your weaknesses, your strengths, where you want to be, you can collaborate and have better, clear outcomes in minutes that would take you months, and maybe you never got it done. So collapsing time. Listen, attention is abundant. It's all over the place. Like get attention. But trust is scarce. And the people who win are the ones that keep it simple, go fast, and execute faster than ever before, because so they can find out what works and what doesn't. The other thing that I believe is great, again, we can always talk about the negative, but I'm going to talk about what's possible. In the past, to go launch something new, sometimes you needed extra capital because you had to hire people. You needed credentials. Maybe you needed permission. Today, you need clarity. You need a story that builds trust. You need the courage to, that's why I started with the big purpose. You just need the courage to move forward. Because the other thing, I just had a great guest here yesterday, super smart guy. His name is Zach Cass. And he said, intelligence now is available to everybody. So if you ever thought, I'm not so smart in business, I'm not so smart in marketing. I mean, I interviewed someone 2 weeks ago. They said, first off, I got to start by saying thank you. You and Alex Hermosi have been my marketing directors for 18 months now. Every bit of my copy is written through the lens of Dean Graziosi's art and Alex Hermosi data. And my stuff is converting twice as good as it ever has in history. I mean, that's my secret sauce. It took me 30 years to figure out. You could use it today. Like, that's just where we are. So you can focus on the bad. I'm going to focus on what's possible and how we can impact more lives, including my own family.
So if we talk about tactics, at this point, most listeners have probably opened up ChatGPT or some kind of AI LLM like Gemini, and they've started talking to it. They've maybe said, make me a recipe, or maybe give me a workout plan. But why doesn't using AI just like Google work? Why, if we just use it for search or something surface level, why is that flawed? And what is the deeper level?
Yeah. So here's the cool part. So, using it like a fancy Google is still way better than Google. It gets you better research, it gets you faster outcomes, and it works. I'll give you a quick story. My sister is 4 years older than me. She's 61. She called me 6 months ago and said, Dean, I see what you're doing with AI. I love it. But you know what? She has a really successful business. She's like, I'm 61. I'm not going to learn this now. I don't need this. I don't need to learn another thing. Then she called me 3 months ago and she's like, I think I need to learn this. I've been using it to write emails and stuff. She called me like 3 weeks ago. She's like, hey, can I get in the course, the training that you and Tony have? I sent it to her. She's like, oh my God. She's like, this is amazing. And the evolution is simply this. When you first start dabbling, it's you go down the rabbit hole of a fancier Google. Maybe it writes some emails. It does some research. It becomes like a genie. You ask it to do something and it goes and does it really quick. You're like, it's amazing. And you don't have to search through a lot of stuff. It actually puts pieces together. But the next level, and this is something I'd say you want something tactical, do today. Whether you use Claude or Chat, go in today and just even go to the audio section, right? Click audio and just talk for 20 minutes. And you might be past this, but this is for the people that might not. My sister wasn't, and she owns a multi-million-dollar business, and she's super smart. I said, just go and share who you are. What are your goals? What are your constraints? What do you worry about? Where do you want to be in a year from now? What do you think is your biggest strength? What do you think is your biggest weakness? Who's your ideal client? What is the product? What is the outcome? What is the problem your product solves? What is the video you want? Just vomit up everything for 20 or 30 minutes and then ask it a question. Then ask it to collaborate. Then ask it to be your sparring partner, your business partner, your thought partner, your digital double, and give it a problem that you want to solve. Give it an opportunity you want to fuel. It is not a little bit better. It is exponentially better. Again, those of you that know this, you're like, duh. Those that don't, this will change your life. Think about if you hired the best employee in the world. You hired an A player, everybody recommended him, and they walked in the door and you said, I don't know, a project you're working on, Sean, like, it's like, we want to create 4 videos that does XYZ. We want to create our second book, right? If he just walked in and said, hey, we want to create our second book. Could you go start that? Thanks. That's what we do with AI sometimes. But imagine if you spent 2 hours with this A player and you said, this is the reason we wrote this book. This is the impact we make. This is what's changed since then. This is why we can impact lives even more now. And after they read the book, we want them to be a part of our community and even coaching and our mastermind. And you spent 2 hours and then you said, could you go start it? He or she would walk out on fire with context, with understanding, and then they go get to be that A player. Think of AI as that same thing, except exponentially smarter, exponentially cheaper, exponentially faster. Clear goals, clear context, and watch it go to work.
So really, this part of the podcast is worth rewinding, because you just fired off a lot of stuff there, which is like a framework, like this question, that question, the next question. And we have a lot more to cover in the podcast, but you mentioned this event that you are co-hosting with Tony Robbins. I looked at the speaker lineup. It's incredible. Some of my friends are speaking, and you guys are doing an event called the AI Advantage Summit, where I believe you're going to walk through that entire framework in a much more linear process so people can create that context. So I'll make sure there's a link to this in the show notes of this episode, or you could go to learnaisummit.com. But what exactly is happening? You know, full disclosure, Brian and myself were a part of this event about 6 months ago, but you guys are doing it again, but at a different level. So I'm curious, like the details of this upcoming summit.
Yeah. So about a year ago, I'll just real quick. And I appreciate you sharing that. If you're unclear about AI, you're overwhelmed with AI, you want another level, just go. It's free. It's 3 hours a day. Amazing guests. Tony and I don't pretend to be the AI experts, but we interviewed 50 of the top experts. We got path and plan. We got context. We got patterns. I mean, that's really what we do best, is pattern recognition. And then we invited our favorite speakers. We partnered with one of them, and you will leave there with another level of confidence and capabilities for sure. So that's all I'll say about the event. But what is really important is, about a year ago, Tony called me and said, this AI, if people don't get in their soul, if they don't accept this, they're going to fall behind. And he's like, we got to do something about it. That's my partnership with Tony. He's like, we got to impact their lives. We got to help them. Let's go interview the best. Let's partner with somebody who's great. Let's do this. Let's create an AI education platform that really serves the world. So we launched our first one. It was in November. We had 638,000 people register for that event. It was insane. And it went so good. And we changed so many lives. And we taught people that context. You're using it like an employee that doesn't know you. And over 3 days, we taught that and gave them this path and plan. And people went nuts over it. And we were going to do another one this November. We always do a big event once a year. But Tony again called me about 3 months ago. He's like, we can't wait. You see how much change has happened in the last 8 weeks. He's like, it has changed so much, because what we taught last year was how to get AI to know you deeply and work alongside of you. Now, with the shifts of the last 8 weeks, you can get AI that knows you deeply to work for you. So it's doing stuff while you're asleep. And we didn't want to teach that last time because it was too complicated. It complicated me. Now I have it on my phone. I'm working with my agent every single day. I don't want to use that word to scare anybody, but we're going to show you this natural evolution. No matter where you are, you have the opportunity to have AI working for you, and trust it to do it. So that's why we decided to move up the event to April 23rd, because Tony, we just didn't feel people could wait till November.
Amazing. So again, yeah, if you're interested in that Think Media podcast, we'll make sure there's a link to it in the show notes. But I love what you just said. I mean, you said agent. I think the term, people are saying AI agents. This is AI working for you. In another podcast, I heard you say you're twice as fast as you were 6 months ago. And I think you said in the next 6 months, you're even going to be twice as fast as that. I'm curious your kind of daily routine. You know, you're obviously going to go deep on this in the summit, but like your daily routine with AI, where it's happening, is it happening on your phone, happening on your computer, and what you mean by that? You're twice as fast as you were 6 months ago.
So I'm going to give you an example. First off, because I have a partner in AI and this is what we're obsessing on. I have an agent that texts me every morning at 5 a.m. and says, hey, here's a quote for your kids. I send my kids a quote every day, but it's got to be from me. So it searches all my stuff and finds a quote from me. It'll send that to me at 5 a.m. and it'll say, okay, I know you're doing your morning routine right now. What can I do to help support you today? And all day on my phone, I'm working with an agent. Now that's next level. And I'm only there because I have an amazing team to support me. But let me give you an example of AI knowing you and working alongside of you. So I mentioned earlier that I was at this building and we talked about the mountain of the purpose of climbing that mountain if your brother was hurt, right? That company has over 300,000 employees. They're one of the largest banks and financial institutions in the world. And I needed to create a presentation for them on why our education, even though there's incredibly smart people that teach AI, why ours will stick with a big chunk of their employees. Now, I'm going to give you just a before and after. In any other time in history, I would have probably recorded a 10-minute voice memo. I would have done a bunch of research on their company, how many employees, which group, and who should we serve? Maybe not the young people who already know it, maybe not the older people that are getting ready to retire, and who in the middle? Is it sales? Is it accounting? Is it reps? Who would be, what's the best research? Where do they typically, it would have taken me personally 10 hours to 20 hours of research, voice memos, going back and forth. My assistant would have done the same. Then I would have got my copywriter, our graphic design guy, and I would have put together this whole presentation over 2 weeks. And I estimate 30 to 40 hours, and we would have had something great. I call it my clone. You could call it your digital double, because my AI knows me so well. They already know that I'm considering doing business with them. It's part of the idea of our expansion into B2B. Know everything about me. I literally picked up my phone and I recorded a 15-minute audio, and I said, here's what we're going to do. Here's the outcome. Here's what I want to accomplish. I want to know what group of humans in this company would be perfect for this. Why is this different? What is Tony and I's secret sauce? We're not the AI experts. We're the education experts to make things stick. I just talked for 15 minutes. In less than an hour, in less than 1 hour, I had the most amazing 13 slide deck I had ever seen in my life. Done. Slides. Literally did nothing to it when it was done. I went to this company. They were blown away. We had a half-hour meeting. It lasted 2.5 hours. They were blown away. When I got done, I said, I did all this in less than an hour with my agent and not even an agent yet, just with AI helping me. And it blew their mind so much, but it blows my mind. Like that, it not only was done in an hour instead of 30 or so, it was actually better. Like honest and truly, it was better. It did better research. It met them exactly where they are. It knew how to be an expert to talk to somebody in that position. So that's just an example of a day of where we're going. And now that extra time, I can go on and try to get another one of those companies. It's a compounding effect. And if that's how you look at it, and if not, maybe I get to go to tennis practice tonight because my son, who's 17 years old, is doing great in tennis. He's undefeated, and I like watching him at practice. Maybe that's what you do with the time.
Man, I love that. And I actually want to take it a little bit deeper in like routines, because our audience is listening here, and they wouldn't be on this podcast if they didn't create content of some kind. Now, you're one of the most prolific people that I know when I think about the programs you've created and the books you've written and the videos you've created. And I think there's probably two types of individuals listening. On the one hand, some of us by nature kind of are natural content creators and we enjoy it, but we also feel the pressure and there is overwhelm and there could be like writer's block and those types of things. Then there's others who kind of feel like it's a duty. There may be a business owner and they're like, it's going to be a mistake for me to not leverage social media marketing, to not leverage YouTube. And it's an extension of trying to get leads and customers. Maybe I'll learn to love it, but I'm trying to fit this into my busy schedule. I'm curious, you have a team supporting you, but how this has affected you as a content creator with videos and social media. Do you have plans of writing another book? What is your process going to be? It's going to be
So let me tell you a couple things. One, think of AI in these two working alongside of you and then working for you. So working alongside me, knows my goals, read a bunch of my stuff, watched my videos, and I might load in 4 videos from people I respect. When it knows me, I could say, take those 4 videos. What is the common thread? What would I talk about in that same genre? And give me a script for a video that's in my voice, but those topics. That's easy. That's done once it knows you. Then I say, give me 3 hooks. Give me the best hooks based on the best hooks that I've ever done before. When you evolve that to an agent, now my partner just set up, his name's Igor. He set up where every day, every night, my AI is searching the internet for the 3 top genres that are aligned with me, looking for the hottest videos. So by the time I wake up, it tells me the 3, it breaks them down and tells me in my voice what I should be speaking about. Those are the most fun. If you watch my Instagram page, I never really focused on social media a lot. I just got to be honest. I've been in this industry 30 years. I'm a direct response marketer. I've been running ads for 30 years. It's what I do. I never put a lot of time in Instagram. 4 months ago, my team's like, enough, Dean. We got to put focus on it. This is how I've been doing my Instagram. If you go back and look at my Instagram of 6 months ago, it did good. I have 1 million followers. Videos would get 10, 15,000. I mean, the one posted yesterday has 323,000 on it. Like it's exponentially exploded because I have this unfair advantage of saying, some of the stuff, it literally says, Dean, I think this was originally yours and now so-and-so's doing it. Just do it again. Right. So that's one thing. Secondly, I haven't written a book in about 6 years, 7 years, because I got so much going on. I'm partners with Tony. We own multiple companies. I just got done in the last 4 months. I wrote 2 books, and they'll both come out this year. One on my mastermind company on how to be a creator, how to take your life experience and turn it into a product that impacts others. That's what Tony and I do when we own Mastermind. And we wrote the book that's coming out called The AI Advantage. That book I wrote all of it with the help of my clone. Now, here's what I want you to say. What most people fear is that I don't want AI to write for me. Neither do I. I'm a multiple New York Times bestselling author. I've sold millions of copies of my books. I feel blessed to be able to say that. I don't want somebody reading it and saying, this doesn't sound like Dean. What the heck? But when you teach it to be you, it pushes back. It writes like you. And I write along with it. So the way I set it up, I wrote both books literally in record time. I usually take 6 months to a year. I did them both in about 4 months. But what I did, it was like a writer sitting next to me. I'd write a section, bounce back and forth. Hey, I know a story that should go in there. This story is redundant. Why don't you do this one here? Why don't you tie Tony in here? It was the best writing partner of my life. And I think I wrote 2 of the best books I've ever had, literally ever written. And again, I'm fortunate to say I've sold millions of copies of books. That's the kind of stuff that's happening in my life every single day. I'm like excited like a little kid because I thought it was going to take me 15 years to get a lot of this out there. I think I can get a lot more out in the next 3.
Man, so powerful. And talk about compressing time. I've heard you and Tony say all the time, decades into days. It's like that's more real than ever before. And I know a lot of individuals listening to this have unfinished projects in their journal, on their computer, unfinished, course or program or coaching program. And it's just a different era. Like you can, with now, from 6 months to a year to 4 months to put out your best work ever.
Absolutely.
And you brought up, individuals that do have those fears, like, okay, but also AI just used like in a rush or just used as like a race to the bottom is producing
AI slop.
Yeah, AI slop. I am curious if you speak to the mindset, because the way we've said it here is that AI is separating winners and losers. And I love that, by the way. Yeah, like that you, in a way, you have like no choice. Yet at the same time, I'm curious about how you think about some of the debates. I'm sure as y'all do an event, you maybe get comments and,
of course,
about is AI ruining the internet, or it's hurting, content creators, and just navigating those waters. Because I think a lot of us feel these tensions. We feel maybe the overwhelm. We want to start. We also want to lean into it. But for those that are maybe separating the difference between AI slop, how it's affecting music, artists, those types of things, but yet wanting to be authentic, purpose-driven, integrity-led individuals that embrace AI in an ethical way. How do you wrestle with that?
So this is, and I hope I'm not sounding redundant, but here's what I'd love. If you could say you're a coach, give me a topic of a coaching.
So let's say women in their 40s, and so it's health, fitness, maybe menopause. There's something specific.
Right. Okay, great. How to stay fit and clear-headed through menopause. Let's just use that for a great example. Here's what I'd love to challenge you to do. Go into Chat or Claude, one you haven't used, or go incognito and say, I would like to create a 6-module coaching program to help women thrive through menopause, to get their heads clear and stay in shape, and hit submit. And then look at that answer. It's going to be good, but it's what everybody can do. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to talk now, open up another chat and talk for a minimum of 20 minutes about what you went through with menopause, why it was tough at first, what you discovered. Was it yoga? Was it exercise? Was it meditation? Was it supplements? Was it a certain type of yoga, certain type of meditation? I want you to share everything you went through. who you've helped, why you want to help people. What is your goal, your desire? And then I want you to describe who your ideal client is. It's a 47-year-old woman who's suffering with menopause, doesn't know how to tell her husband. She feels emotions that she never had. Listen, I know because in Mastermind, we have so many women that have created menopause programs. It's funny you say that, they're killing it. But I would love for you to go 20, 30 minutes and just share everything about your story, everything about your ideal client, and then everything else you want as an outcome. Hear me, an outcome for people you work with. You want them to feel alive again. You want them to feel sexy again. You want them to get their thoughts under control. Whatever it is, just talk, no coherence, just go. And then when you're done, ask it the same question. Say, would you help me create a 6-module coaching program that helps these amazing women get this result? Hit submit. When you compare the two, you will have goosebumps. One sounds like AI slop that everybody can do, even though it's good, that people are going to feel that. The other is an extension of you. Then you go in and you could say, hey, I like this, but I don't like this. This doesn't sound like me. Fix this. Just, you said AI separates the winners and losers. People who don't make stuff work, sometimes they just don't put the effort and energy in. You still got to put the effort and energy in. It just collapses time and allows you to go quicker. Where you thought I have to lay out my 6 modules over the next month, you can lay them out over the next 45 minutes. That's the power of what we have right now. And that's the difference between the two.
So I have a couple final questions for you. I think these are the most important. I do want to talk specifically to business owners. We have a lot of business owners here. You've run multiple different businesses. And then also talking even about like maybe a 30-day game plan. A big opportunity, of course, is to implement what you're teaching us right now. To many people are going to jump into the AI Advantage Summit and implement that. But when you think about business owners, team, operations, P&L, finances, what's one workflow that every business owner should automate first, or how you're seeing AI? Because I know also as a business owner with a staff, and many people listening, even solo creators, but maybe they have a couple, even contractors and some different things. And I will, I'm excited about AI and we're using AI, but probably like everybody else, also feel overwhelmed. Like I can't keep
I get it.
I don't have the time to implement it.
We all feel that way. We all feel that way. And we're in this industry, right? It's one of those things, it just evokes that emotion because it's going so quick. You figure one thing out and you're like, oh my God, it's like you got through 2nd grade and now the next one is 9th grade. It's like, wait a minute. It's like these jumps. So here's, I want to share. That's a really great question. Now I could pick one like sales, right? Sales can help. It can help automate and maneuver in so many of the parts, the non-human parts. You want the human parts to be human and let it do the in-between work. Accounting, it helps accounting so much to qualify but here's the answer that I think would be best served is go one department at a time. Pick a department and then pick, they call it a workflow. Let's call it a standing operating procedure. Say it's customer support. We're going to just use an example. Go into customer support and find one of the SOPs, one of their playbooks, one of their workflows. Somebody raises their hand. They send an email. They do the thing. They want the fulfillment. It goes here. Then it goes here. Then it goes this part. They wanted a refund. Like find a workflow and just pick one department, one workflow, and lay it out like the old days. Now you could speak into Chat or Claude and say, they do this first, do this first, do this second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth, all the things. Say, lay this out for me. And then just simply say to your AI you're using, what part of this workflow should I use AI first to help it go better? Because here's what I'm finding in businesses. So many times a leader will say, I want my team to all use AI to go faster. And then you're not using it. It's like at the level you could. We're the leaders. We have to show up. I mean, I'm 57. I have to stretch myself to be into AI and technology. I didn't grow up with an iPhone in my hand, right? There was barely computers in my classroom. So how I'd say, I see with all the people I've interviewed, the fastest and most powerful way, pick a department, pick a workflow, and then put AI in place in a few spots in that particular workflow, adjust, tweak, and watch it go faster. So it's like normal, boom, you skip. Normal, boom, you skip. And all of a sudden you start getting effectiveness there and you go deeper and you go, hey, we could make this into an agent. Hey, I'm learning this now. I get it. Let me go code it, or let me go ask, Claude Code to do it. And all of a sudden you watch people who were once scared start going down the rabbit hole. And then you pick another workflow, maybe in the same department. And once you get a department use it, they tell everybody else, hey, I didn't get fired. I'm just actually being more creative, getting more done. Our students are getting better stuff. My accounting is easier. Sales are easier. Follow-up systems are easier. And that's the best advice I can give everybody is one SOP, one playbook, or one workflow at a time. Insert it where it starts making momentum and then build from there.
Man, that's genius. One department at a time. I actually just asked AI, like, how many departments in functional businesses are there? And it's saying roughly between 5 to 8 core departments.
Right. Always 5 to 8. Yep.
Yeah. So 5 to 8. So that makes me think too, would you think if you really kind of got focused, we're all busy, we still have our day-to-day to do, but that maybe we could do like one department a month and in 5 to 8 months?
We're doing that here. We're literally at my company because we're all using AI, but I find there's some people using it more and less, and it's kind of all over the place. So I just said one department at a time, and I made one person like the AI operator. So they're attacking, right now they're attacking the data department. All the data that comes in, how can we get it into a clean data lake easier? And how can we get AI that every department can use AI to go in and ask data so they can be better in their department? That's what we're working on this month. And their whole obsession is, oh my God, I found this. And it could scrape this data and automatically, I'm watching them come alive and everybody's like, I want it in my department. I want it in my department. I'm like, one at a time, next level. So yeah, I love the one at a time.
Amazing. Okay. So I have one final question for you, but I do want to make sure that listeners, we're learning a lot, but they still have maybe many questions. Maybe want the complete playbook, all the framework. So we'd already mentioned a little bit about the AI Advantage Summit, but who is it exactly for? Like, who would this event be for? And if you want to check this out, Think Media Podcast listeners, learnaisummit.com, or of course, we'll link it in the show notes. But just kind of the final thoughts on the event of what's going to be happening.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Who's going to be best for?
Yeah, so I'll start by telling you who it's not for. It's not for the 20% of the early adopters that are already coding every day. You're chasing every new tool that's coming out and excuse my language, you're a badass when it comes to AI. That is awesome. You could show up and support and get people excited about what's possible, but that's not who it's for. It's for the 80% of the rest of us that just feel behind. You're using it. You've got a Claude account. You have a chat account. You're doing well. It's being used in your company some, but you just need a clear path. That's who this is for. The people who feel behind, a little overwhelmed, a little confused, and they'll leave with clarity. They'll leave with confidence and you'll see what's possible. So that's probably the shortest and best answer I could give.
It's a great answer. And so that event is called the AI Advantage Summit, starting soon. So check out the details in the show notes. Okay. What does someone who masters AI in the next 30 days actually look like a year from now?
I think they're going to be dangerous in the best way possible, right? Their team is more effective and efficient because they're getting rid of the busy work. They have the opportunity to grow in areas that you might have been waiting for more money to come in to hire that department. And now AI could be that department, right? I honestly think for me, I want my team to know that I don't want to let anybody go. I want everybody to be more effective so we can grow without hiring people. And that has shifted the culture of my team. I think we could grow with less drama, especially when we have more data, we have more systems, we have more operations in place, right? I think your offers could be cleaner. Your margins could be greater. Your videos are tighter because it knows you so well that it's saying, don't do this. Here's 3 people that did it, but do it your way with this hook because it's getting to know you deeper and stronger. I think every department in a year from now will have their own agent and it won't feel overwhelming in a year from now. An agent for each department. We said, workflows and how do we make it faster? Within a year, every department will have its own agent that's taught and trained, and it'll be the voice that you go to ask questions, concerns, get feedback, or go do the work for you. Most importantly, I think the identity of you and your company will shift from I'm learning AI to AI is just a part of what we do. It's AI first. I mean, that's where we're going, and there's no stopping it. So we might as well jump in and get ahead of the wave.
Well, Dean, I love that vision, and AI is kind of overwhelming, but it's also exciting. We're very excited for the upcoming event. And, we love the last one. And for everybody, I think there's going to be an opportunity on that event to even be a part and go deeper with y'all. That's
Absolutely.
Something we joined. We are part of the boot camp and
I love that
monthly program.
Thank you.
But whether that's right for people or not, the fact that you're doing 100% free, you got 3 days, super in depth. And we were looking for, we need help. We need mentors, and grateful for you. And thanks so much for being on the podcast. I do want you to shout out anything, but also, again, just want to acknowledge you and thank you for the impact you've made in my life. I remember when I purchased your book, Millionaire Success Habits, and I've been following you for years. And so it's cool to finally have you on the Think Media podcast. Absolutely. And is there any final roll call? I know, of course, we'll have in the show notes, but so people can connect with you or, connect with you on social media, anything you want to mention.
I think on social media, just at Dean Graziosi, I try to put powerful stuff every day. It's my pleasure when I see it's impacting lives. And if the AI Advantage Summit is for you, show up. It is only once a year. It is free. You will leave. It is not a 3-day. Listen, I'll be really transparent. We teach for 9 hours over 3 days with some of the greatest experts on the planet, myself, Tony Robbins, and the people we trust the most. In those 9 hours, in about 10 minutes of it on day 2, we make an offer for those that want to be in our boot camp. But I promise you, the rest is so powerful. Our whole goal is everybody leaves either saying, heck yeah, that was amazing. Not for me. Heck yeah, this is amazing. I want to keep working with these guys. Either way, I promise you at the end of 3 days, you'll be so grateful that you spent time learning. So I hope we get the chance to meet.
So if you've been getting value out of Think Media podcast episodes like this, it's always helpful if you hit the like button on YouTube and leave a review if you listen on audio on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen. As a reminder, depending on when you're listening to this, there's a limited time to register for the free 3-day AI Advantage Summit. Again, I am happy to promote this free event because we actually attended it at Think Media. Brian on our team was a part of the whole thing. I was taking notes when I could, and then we joined their program so we could take things to a whole nother level. But honestly, the 3-day event, the free event with all the guest speakers, it's going to be incredible. I already know November was good, and they've made this one better. And so if you're ready to level up your AI game without the overwhelm and with the higher values of course, freedom and getting some of your sanity back, and how can I make AI work for me to actually buy back my time and not just stress me out more, you got to be a part of this event. So we'll link to that in the show notes as well. I want to thank you for being a part of the Think Media podcast community, whether this is your first day or whether you've been listening for the last 5 years. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. This is the Think Media podcast, and I can't wait to connect with you in a future episode.